Welcome to another episode of the Daily Cynic. In this video, I'm going to talk about Toto Wolff and the Mercedes F1 team's looming financial crisis. But before we get to that, help this video break the YouTube algorithm by hitting the like and subscribe buttons below. Thanks. Your help is much appreciated. Now let's get started. So just before this Formula One season started, we heard the incredible news that Sir Lewis Hamilton will be leaving Mercedes to join Ferrari for the 2025 season. You may have seen one of my earlier videos, where unlike some other commentators at the time who were speculating that Hamilton knew the Mercedes car was bad, I correctly called that he jumped before he was pushed. Additional stories we've heard since then confirms what I said. Wolff was reluctant to give Hamilton a long-term contract for fear of losing the young racing prodigy, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. As I said in my previous video, the fact that Toto Wolff wasn't willing to give Hamilton a guaranteed 3-year contract that would have seen him race for Mercedes in 2024, 2025, and the first year of the new regulations in 2026 spoke volumes. All that public talk about doing everything possible to get Hamilton his 8th world title that was stolen from him, yet Mercedes weren't willing to seal him into a race seat for 2026. I'm guessing in Hamilton's mind he was willing to go through the pain of not competing for titles and even wins in the 2024 and 2025 seasons, just so he could be with Mercedes in 2026 when he would have hoped they'd have got things right by then and be back to winning ways. And if they still hadn't got things right, he would have been happy to retire from the sport and continue working with Mercedes in an ambassadorial role dealing with the many projects they've created together. However, all those projects come at a cost. And it looks like Wolff and the other co-owners of the Mercedes F1 team don't want to commit to these or Hamilton in the long term. So Hamilton decided to take his talents elsewhere, rather than be forced into an earlier than scheduled retirement if Wolff and co decided to pull the rug from underneath him in 2025. And in doing so, he's left Wolff and the Mercedes F1 shareholders in a spot of bother, and now they realize they're heading towards a financial crisis when Hamilton leaves. What do I mean by a financial crisis, some of you might be asking? Well, a large proportion of Merc's fanbase are Lewis Hamilton fans, and over time they'll probably migrate to Lewis's new team, Ferrari. That's a whole lot of lost revenue from merchandise and whatever else Mercedes sells to their fans. And it's safe to assume that Mercedes F1 top brass have run the numbers and know things won't be looking as good for them once Hamilton leaves. So what's Toto Wolff's options to try to fill the financial black hole that will be created by Hamilton's departure? Well, first off, George Russell won't be able to pick up the slack. Personally, I don't mind George, but for some reason he's rubbed some F1 fans the wrong way. Max fans dislike him as they do with any other driver they see as a threat to Verstappen, and Hamilton fans don't seem to have much time for him either, mainly due to the fact that finishing ahead of Lewis seems to be the only thing he cares about, even if it costs the team a chance at a win. I'm referring to Zandvoort 2022 here. In short, George isn't going to be able to fill the black hole, even partially, especially if Mercedes aren't contenders for the championship. Toto's second option could be to bring in Andrea Kimi Antonelli, but for this to work to Mercedes's financial benefit, they'd have to run an excellent marketing campaign just like Red Bull did with Verstappen. Much of Max's fan base had been built up over the promise that he was the wonder kid that would dethrone Hamilton. Most Hamilton haters, and there are a lot of them out there, gravitated to this, latching onto the Red Bull PR campaign propagated by Christian Horner and even Max Verstappen himself, when he claimed he was 0.2 faster than Lewis. That's the stuff the haters love to hear, and they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Antonelli could try the same tactic, but rather than claiming he's faster than Hamilton, he could claim he's faster than Verstappen. This would definitely attract anti-Verstappen fans, but he'd have to be beating his own teammate for people to take this claim seriously. Also, you'd have to have a real horrible personality trait to even say that, and from what I've seen of Antonelli, I don't think that's something he'd ever do, or even be allowed to do by Toto Wolff. Toto's third option is what he's trying to do right now: get Max to Mercedes. Max has already got a huge fan base, thanks to all the work Red Bull have done in marketing him. He's probably the only driver on the grid that could even come close to filling the financial black hole at Mercedes after Hamilton's departure. This could explain why Toto is willing to offer Max such a huge amount of money to leave Red Bull. The problem is, though, would Max even want to leave a team that is currently at the top of the pecking order to one that has found itself on the back foot year after year? Probably not. So that leaves Toto Wolff with one last option, which is probably the most obvious one: build a better car. Doing this would solve all their problems. Fans would gravitate to Antonelli and even George if their championship contenders, and Toto's financial worries would be alleviated. However, given that Mercedes still haven't been able to solve the correlation problems between their simulation tools and real life for their current car, then I'm guessing these same issues will carry over to their 2026 car, which they're working on right now. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to help support this channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons below. Till next time.